Hi there, welcome to part 4 of my MonoGame tutorial series. Today we're gonna make a Sprite class. This class will make it so that we can reduce the lines of code that we use in our enemy and player class. Alright, some of you may have noticed that our enemy class and our player class share a lot of the same lines of code. So in order to make life easier and our code less repetitive, we will be creating a Sprite class. And in that class we will be able to put all of the shared code between the enemy and the player. And our enemy and player class will be able to use the code from the Sprite class instead of their own code. And they will be able to do that because of something called C# inheritance that enables developers to create new classes that reuse, extend and modify the behavior defined in other classes. Or to simply put it, don't have double lines of code. We'll start by adding a new item, in this case our C# class, and we'll call it the Sprite class. And inside of the Sprite class we'll have to use the following fields, these two. And inside of our internal class we'll have to use these fields, like that, just a private vector position, sprite image and sprite width, because those are the double things we have in our enemy and player class, and that we'll be able to reuse right here. And we'll begin by just copying our sprite height code, and you will be able to do that from the enemy or the player class. It doesn't really matter because it will just be exactly the same. So we'll copy it and place it right here. And the same goes for our public rectangle, position rectangle. We'll be able to reuse it right there too. And although the player and enemy constructors are not identical, it will be necessary to construct sprite objects and initialize some values. Alright, and because of that we'll write a new constructor which will go public sprite, and between the brackets we'll write vector2 position, and we'll write this dot position is position, and this will be able to take in a vector2 value and set the position field based on that given value. And of course we'll also have to make a draw sequence in which we'll go public void draw, the brackets, and in the brackets we'll write game time with 2 capitals and then with only the capital T, comma, sprite batch, and underscore sprite batch or normal sprite batch. I'm not quite sure. I switch all the time. It's not that handy to do, but hey, it works. And then we'll go sprite batch. Oh, excuse me. Sprite batch dot draw sprite image, comma, position rectangle, comma, color dot white. That's actually our sprite class done, and now we just have to update our enemy and player classes to remove the old code. And apart from removing the old code, we'll also have to add some, and that is adding the following. And this will essentially give the enemy class permission, so to say, to take things from the sprite class and use it. And we'll do the same with our player class, so that this one is also able to, steal the code. Alright, and we'll also have to update our base position, and we'll do that in the player section right here. We'll do the following line, base position, and this will essentially give it the updated position from our sprite class that we've written down here. And now we'll be able to remove all the reused code. So in this case that will be our sprite height and position rectangle from the player class, and it will be our draw method, and we'll be able to do the same in our enemy class. We'll be able to remove this. And of course we'll have to add the base position once again, and we'll be able to remove this draw method as well. And we must not forget to make this a capital S. It was a small s at first and it gave me problems, but capital S works just fine. And one more thing we have to do at the sprite class is the following. Because these fields are set to private, the enemy and player class won't be able to access those, because the private right here makes sure that only the sprite class is allowed to use or change these values. But if we actually change this to public, then there should be no issues at all and your game should run just fine. Please don't give me an error again, please. Yeah, Alright, no worries, it was an easy fix. The actual... it was a really easy fix. We have to remove all of this at the enemy class and the player class, because otherwise it will interfere with each other and override everything and it won't work. But as long as you remove the position, sprite image and sprite width fields from the enemy and player class, everything should work. And we'll also have to add the following pieces of code, lines of code that I forgot to add: the public vector to position, the texture to the sprite image, and the sprite width. I'll pause it right here so you can copy. And yeah, right now everything works, and we've just created another class which allows us to reduce our reusage of code, and as you can see, everything works just the same. So yeah, that's good. And to answer the question from Junet, I will keep my main focus on making a base for the game itself, but I will try to make a tutorial on animations, although it's quite hard to find understandable information online about it, but I will do my best. And keep commenting on my video, guys, it's a great motivator for me. Until next time.